Good morning, friends. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Nayaswami Narayan. This is Nayaswami Dharma Devi, and it's a joy to be with you to introduce Nayaswami Shivani and Healing with Life Force, Volume 2, Mind. You know, it's incredible because I went to this book last night and just opened to a random page. And this is Yogananda's words. Thought has the power of materialization. Change your thought process. There is no other technique in this short span of life. By the power of your thought, you can go faster than the airplane, faster than all animals, and be more powerful than any mechanism man has invented. You are made in God's image, and He gave to you the indomitable power of thought. That is what Healing with Life Force Volume 2 is about, the indomitable power of thought, the superconscious power of our mind. And it's a joy for us to be sharing with Shivani, who, just as the life force transforms our lives, it heals us from within. It's the life force that heals. Shivani has been a pioneer in her life, that the life force through her has created. She's one of the founding members of Ananda Village here in Northern California, one of the founding members of Ananda Europa. So it is a privilege to introduce Shivani. And as we were coming over this morning, Dharma Devi and I have an autobiography of a yogi calendar. There's one quote for each day. And today's quote happened to be that one of Sri Yukteswar, where he says that man's subtle spiritual vibrations affect the whole universe. And that's the power of the life force that can heal and touch us all, that has flowed through Shivani. And now we invite Shivani to share with us on Healing with Life Force Volume 2, Mind. Welcome, Shivani.
Thank you so much for this invitation. It is really a delight and my privilege to be with you and all of those who will be viewing this today and in the future. This is the second volume in the trilogy of Healing with Life Force. And as I was writing the book, I was writing it as one continuous flow. And yet, when it was finished, it wanted to be in 3 volumes as a trilogy. Much easier to hold in our hands, much easier to read one at a time. There is a thread, many threads that go through the 3 books, but each one of them is independent. So in the first volume, we talked about the power of life force itself, how we can draw it down into our physical body, and how we can rejuvenate and regenerate and purify our bodies to obtain good health and to deal with illness when it comes. The second volume is dedicated to the mind, which is truly the most powerful tool that we have in our human existence. And this evening, I'd like to share with you some of the contents of this book. I'd like to talk to you about the superpowers of the mind. I'd like to read some things to you from the book. And most of all, I'd like to invite you to practice with me some things that we'll do at the end of the session. How powerful is the mind? Well, we can see what the mind has wrought through the history of humanity. So much beyond even the imagination has become manifest and realized. It's the power of thought that sends us these days into outer space. It's the power of thought that transforms wild plants into domesticated food. And it is the power of our thoughts to influence material reality that we want to talk about right now and also through the pages of this book. This is one of the foundation principles of quantum physics, that our thoughts actually influence material reality. We don't have to be physicists in order to understand by our own experience how this works. From my own experience, for example, I'm afraid of heights. And when I get up somewhere high, my body becomes so weak that my knees actually buckle and my legs are so weak that I can't walk. So it's that thought of fear that is actually influencing my material reality. We know that when we are faced with danger, we have the automatic either fight or flight or run away. So again, that thought of being in danger influences us. So how do our thoughts actually work to influence us? I'd like to read something to you from the book. Let me see where we are. And this is to show how much our reality is based on what we think. This is a story from volume 2, and it's called From Panic Attack to Heart Attack. On the day before the hearing, my client called to say that he was on the way to the hospital with chest pain and would be unable to appear in court. At the hospital, he was admitted with a heart attack. I was representing the client at his arraignment on charges of drug possession in the tribal court of a Native American reservation. Several days before the hearing, he had written to say that he did not want to appear because he was afraid of going to jail. I did my best to reassure him that we would find a reasonable solution, but his anxiety only increased. And that evening he called and said that he was considering suicide as an alternative to jail. I tried to calm him, and then I called social assistance. Shortly thereafter, he had the heart attack. In court the next day, I was able to negotiate a sentence without jail time. When he received the news, his condition rapidly improved and he was released from the hospital. The situation turned out well for my client and was deeply instructive for me. I realized how our fears over a perceived unwelcome future can lead to serious physical consequences. I also realized how anxious I habitually became before I had to appear in court, and how the anxiety caused me to be nauseous and short-tempered with my husband and children. It showed me how I had been sabotaging myself. This was before I found my spiritual path and began to experience the miracles that meditation and inner stillness could bring into my life. That long ago courtroom experience brought me a step closer to the path that would offer me tools to meet my life's lessons with grace and acceptance, and to control my thoughts and emotions so that they might bring only positive results. Every one of our thoughts has one of two results. It either opens us to the healing power of life force, permitting it to flow in, as we learned in the first volume, through the medulla and out into the body and out into our outer life. Or our thoughts close that door to life force. So I'd like to ask you for a moment to become aware of what I call the throwaway thoughts we have every day. Those little thoughts about which you're not really aware. You know, some little thing happens. Maybe we bump our foot and hurt our toe, or drop something in the kitchen, or slip. Any little mishap. What are the automatic thoughts that come up? They are the, oh, drat, oh, darn, damn it, or whatever the thoughts, are in your particular mental set, why is this happening? This is inconvenient. These automatic thoughts are constantly in our mind, and they constitute what Yogananda calls our mental diet. And this volume is dedicated to our mental diet, becoming aware of it, analyzing it, and changing it, so that our daily thoughts, the ones that we're not aware of, that happen all the time whenever there's a mishap, that they become positive, opening thoughts for our healing and for our success. In this book, Yogananda talks to us about the amazing superpowers of our mind, how to harness them, and how to use the mind's power for healing and for whatever we want to do. It isn't automatic that we can gain access, that we can actually use the powers of the mind. The mind, in a way, is like the sun. Its rays are dispersed over a vast area. But if we take, and this is something perhaps you've done when you were in school, a magnifying glass and a piece of paper, and we hold the magnifying glass over the paper so that it's reflecting the sun rays. Do you remember that experiment in science class? What happens? The paper will come on fire. Now, why is that? Why doesn't a piece of paper just sitting out in the sun, especially if the sun is very hot, as it is these days, why doesn't the paper burst into flames? Because the power of the sun, which is potentially enormous, enough to light this whole world, it's not focused. And in the magnifying glass, it becomes focused. It becomes powerful. So our mind can be that magnifying glass when we focus its powers. Now, there are 3 dimensions of the mind that Yogananda explains to us in the book. And these are teachings that come from the ancient Vedas. They're not just modern thoughts that have come from the very young science of psychology that talks about different dimensions of the mind. These are the ancient Vedic explanations. And so in this book, we look at the powers of the conscious mind, the powers of the subconscious mind, and the power of the superconscious mind. Yogananda teaches us not from the perspective of subconsciousness, of imperfection, of illness, of imbalance, but from the perspective of superconsciousness. So let's look really briefly at some of the powers at each of these levels. What are the powers of the conscious mind? They are concentration, visualization, and willpower. In volume 1, we talked a lot about willpower. So this evening, I'm going to mention something about concentration and something about visualization. Concentration is the capacity of the conscious mind to focus. And in this book, there are many suggestions and teachings and techniques for how to focus the mind and how to realize its amazing power. I'll give you a couple hints of some things you find in the book, and then hope that you'll look for more there. The power of concentration, Yogananda says, depends on two things. And the first thing is to eliminate the distractions. Our mind can do so much more. It can create, it can invent, it can solve situations when we are not distracted. Because distractions dilute the power of the conscious mind. There's so many distractions, there always have been, but these days with technology, there are more and more distractions. There's the social media and internet and email. There's the news that goes on 24 hours a day. There's our connections with friends from around the world that are just at the touch of a key. There are our own thoughts that when we're trying to focus on one thing, tempt us to focus on another. So in this book, you'll find many ways to eliminate the distractions. A very good and simple thing to do when you want to focus on a project and you're writing or you're in front of your computer is to shut off the major distractions. Just don't open those programs, close the phone. Give yourself a period of time when you can focus the mind. Then there's the second suggestion of Yogananda, which is to focus on one thing at a time. This for me has been one of the most effective, one of the most practical advices that I have gained from Yogananda and from his student Swami Ananda. Because the mind has the tendency not only to wander, but to do many things at the same time, because it is hugely capable. And yet, when we are tempted to do many things in a short time period, we are diluting the superpower of concentration. So Yogananda says, do one thing at a time. Focus all of your attention on it. Give 100% of energy to the one thing that you're doing. Start it, do it well, finish it, and then go on to something else. Perhaps what you're doing is a long-term project, can't be finished in one day or in 1 hour. Bring it to a conclusion. When I was writing this book, every day I set out a certain amount of work, a certain amount of subjects that I wanted to cover. And it was very clear for me. I made it clear at the beginning of the day. Actually, I made it clear, and this is one of Yogananda's suggestions, the night before. When we finish the day, we should make a plan for the following day so that we can then set the mind at rest. And we could relax in the evening, we can meditate deeply, we can sleep well when we just conclude the day and make a plan for the next day. So when the next day came around, I looked at my plan, I adjusted it, and I went as far as I could, with focus on each section. After each particular section during the day, I would take a break, because the mind, like a machine, can't be forced to work all the time. It needs to rest. It needs to have those periods when it's not with a laser focus. So maybe I would focus for 45 minutes or an hour. Sometimes if I got into it, it might be an hour and a half or 2 hours. Sometimes it was just a half an hour. But I respected my mind's capacity in that moment. I would focus. And when I felt my focus diminishing, I would take a break. I would get up, I would move, I would energize, I'd go outside, I'd tap on my head, I'd have something to drink. Just take that break, come back, and focus again. So the superpower of concentration, we can achieve by eliminating distractions and focusing on one thing at a time. That one thing at a time could be writing an email. That one thing at a time could be talking, conversing with someone, in a Zoom call, in a WhatsApp, or meeting with someone, okay? Or talking with someone about a future event. But again, distractions away and focus on one thing at a time. The other power I'd like to mention this evening, the superpower of the conscious mind, is visualization. And I'm going to talk about this more at the end of this presentation. But visualization is the ability to see ahead, to either see or feel. It's a capacity that is used as part of training, for example, for athletes. The world-class athletes have world-class coaches, and across the board in all sports, from athletics to gymnastics to swimming to tennis to whatever, to sledding, all of it. The coaches train their students in visualization, the ability to see what it is they want to achieve in as much detail as possible. Because when we can do something mentally, it has been scientifically proven that the result is the same as doing it physically. So when we do an action mentally, we are much more able to realize that action when we actually do it physically. So, as I said, I'll be talking about this a bit more. Let's go to the subconscious mind. Some psychologists might call this the unconscious mind. But Yogananda reminds us that there is nothing in this world that it's unconscious. Everything has consciousness. That consciousness might be asleep, might be only partially awake, but consciousness is the one thing that pervades the universe. Now, we tend to think of the subconscious mind in negative terms, and yet Yogananda tells us that the subconscious mind has great power and can be helpful to us if we take hold of it. I'd like to read something from the book that Yogananda said. Let me see here. Oh, I'd like to read something first about the art of concentration. Okay, let's go back a step. Yogananda writes, mental efficiency depends upon the art of concentration. Man must know the scientific method of concentration by which he can disengage his attention from objects of distraction and focus it on one thing at a time. This is his basic teaching for developing the superpower of concentration. By the power of concentration, man can use the untold power of mind to accomplish that which his desires, and he can guard all doors through which failure may enter. So let's go now to superpower of the subconscious mind, and one of those powers is about memory. The subconscious mind is the memory mind. It keeps experiences locked up, ready to be used again upon instant notice. Experiences from the conscious mind enter the subway of consciousness, remain locked up there, only to come out again to another opening into the conscious mind. So the subconscious mind is the repository of memories. Now, we usually are not consciously aware enough of things to put them consciously in the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind just records everything, absolutely everything. It records what we do, what we say, what we think, what we feel, all of our emotions, all of our reactions, and all of our habit patterns. They're all stored there, just like in a great warehouse. And when, with a conscious mind, it comes time to make a plan, or to find a solution, or to deal with a problem, unbeknownst to us, these subconscious impressions rise up into the conscious mind and they influence us. Well, in this book, we learn how to take control of the subconscious patterns. Because when we consciously put habit patterns of thought, of emotion, of action into the subconscious mind, they can work for our benefit. Because we need to have positive health habits, positive mental health attitudes. So we learn how to control the subconscious mind and not be a victim of the subconscious mind. Now let's go to the third level of consciousness, something that's not often talked about in modern psychology, a bit in transpersonal psychology. Yogananda and other writers will call this the superconscious, or the superior level of awareness. Now, what is the perspective of the superconscious mind? Well, let's talk about the perspective in order to have a comparison. The perspective of the subconscious mind. It's like living in an apartment that's in the basement, okay? You don't earn very much money and rents are very high in the city. So you find a place that's underground. Maybe it has a little window up high and some light comes in. So you're living in the basement apartment. What do you see of the outside world? Maybe you see some light coming in, a little bit of whatever. Perhaps it's only like a skylight, and all that you can do is see a little bit of the sky. But you can't really get an understanding of the world around. So you work hard, you earn a bit more money, and you're able to move up onto the first floor in that apartment building. And the first floor apartment has windows and a lot of light comes in. And what can you see outside of the window? You can see what's outside of the windows, and probably not very much more. You can't see what's on the side of your apartment where there are not windows. You can't see very far beyond that limited vision. So that's like our conscious mind, okay, that can see and deal with some things, but doesn't have a higher perspective. So now you get in the elevator in this apartment building and you go all the way up and you discover that there's a roof terrace. You go out onto the roof terrace, and there's nothing blocking your vision. And you can turn around and around, and you have a 360-degree view. And you can see not only what's next to the apartment building, but what's beyond it, what's behind it. You might see the hills or the mountains behind. Maybe they're covered with snow, and maybe there's a river coming. You can see how the streets near your house are connected. You can see how to get from your house to other places by the best route. Now, perhaps you'd like to have a broader perspective. What can you do? Well, on the roof, there's a landing pad for a helicopter. And there it is. And you get into the helicopter, and it goes way up high. And you can see beyond your own place where you live, beyond even your city. You can see far, far beyond. So this is how the superconscious mind is. It's like the perspective of a helicopter, or why don't we say a spaceship? Maybe someday we'll all be a passenger on a spaceship and leave the Earth's atmosphere and be able to see the whole globe and stars and other planets. So there's a dimension of our consciousness that is superior, that has a perspective that's greater, that's more encompassing. And what is its superpower in addition to perspective? Its superpower is intuition, the ability to know directly, immediately, what is needed, what is right, what is good for our health, how we can understand an illness and find a cure, who is the best doctor, what is the best medicine. Let me read to you something Yogananda says about intuition. This is from the chapter 7 on superconsciousness. And Yogananda says, intuition is the innate ability in everyone to perceive truth directly, not by reason, logic, or analysis, but by a simple knowing from within. That is the very meaning of the word intuition, to know or understand from within, intuition, from one's own self, and from the heart of whatever one is trying to understand. Intuition is the inner ability to see behind the outer form of things to their inner essence. So these are the superpowers of our mind that you will learn how to harness and develop by reading this book. So I wanted to read you some stories. I think, let me see, give me just a moment. Okay, stories coming soon. I'd like to go now into some practices. Okay, and I'm going to invite you, I'm going to invite you to do these practices with me. The one thing that unites all of these dimensions of consciousness is a technique called scientific healing affirmations. Affirmations are a statement of truth of our higher self that we consciously repeat in different ways in order to change our mental diet. As I said, our mindset has basically two defaults. Our thoughts, even our unconscious ones, are either negative, closing us down, oh dad, oh darn, why is this happening? And replacing them with thoughts that open us up. I have very consciously done this for many months. when I realized how often I have these little throwaway thoughts that are negative. And I replace them. Whenever something untoward happens, I just say, oh, we can deal with this. Yes, let's do this. Just always, and rather than giving also those signs, those, oh, even those just noises are indications to our mind, to our body cells to either open or close. One of Yogananda's affirmations, and we'll be dealing with it very soon, begins with these words: my body cells obey my mind. And they do. Every thought we have, if we think, oh, what delicious food this is, our body cells are just open to draw the nutrition, the energy from that food. So we're going to do some practice of affirmation in order to change our mental diet from a negative mindset into a consistently positive one. The first practice that we're going to do, let me see. Oh, I'd like to read you a story about someone who was seriously ill and began to practice affirmations at the moment when she most needed it. This story is called The Earthquake Stopped. I only really began to discover Yogananda's affirmations on the day my histological test came back. It was the news I most feared. I had breast cancer. An earthquake erupted in me, and I couldn't think straight. I was still trembling when I received a message from a spiritual sister. She sent me one of Yogananda's affirmations and encouraged me to repeat it continuously. My body cells are made of light. They are perfect because you are perfect. They are healthy because you are health. They are spirit because you are spirit. They are immortal because you are living. I perfectly remember the moment I began to repeat this affirmation. I felt the words resonating in every part of my body. I could feel that every cell was being affected. Something had been set in motion that I could not explain, even though I had experienced it. The earthquake stopped. The earthquake stopped. I was no longer afraid. Strangely, I felt joy. No longer debilitated by fear, and with this powerful tool in hand, I met the test with courage and assurance. The cancerous cells were removed, and no chemotherapy was needed, only radiation. Now, more than 3 years later, I continue to use the affirmation, together with another that helps me ward off anxiety before my quarterly checkups. I am immersed in the eternal light. It pervades every particle of my body. I live in that light. The divine spirit envelops me entirely inside and out. God is in me. He surrounds me and protects me. I will eliminate every fear that precludes me from his light. So let's practice now. I've chosen an affirmation that's from Swami Kriyananda's book, Healing Affirmations. I'd like for you to sit up, sit straight. We're going to calm the body and the mind for a moment, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat with me. So please sit upright, spine nice and straight. I'd like you to take a double breath and then tense the muscles of your body. Inhale short and long through the nose. Inhale. Tense and joyfully vibrate all the muscles of the body, the face, arms, hands, feet, spine, shoulders, and And one more time, double breath, hands vibrate joyfully. Relax. Watch the breath for a moment, just let the breath flow. Let your breath flow freely. And focus your inward gaze now and your attention at the spiritual eye, the point between the eyebrows. Focus there. And out loud, please repeat this affirmation. From that point, you're going to infuse all levels of your consciousness with this truth. Repeat aloud after me. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. I'll repeat this again, more strongly. My body's cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Now this time, when you repeat, keep your eyes closed. I want you to try to visualize, to create an image that goes with each of these phrases. Because when we combine imagery with words, the affirmation goes more deeply, especially into our subconscious mind. So try to imagine some pictures and out loud say again, my body's cells obey my will. Try to visualize your body cells. They're everywhere. They're part of every organ of your nervous system, of your brain, of every limb. Repeat this again and see them, feel them. My body cells obey my will. See them obeying. It could be a little image like of a soldier standing there, saluting. Yes, sir. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. Imagine them. See yourselves dancing, all of them. Dancing, dancing, joyfully, dancing with vitality. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. Visualize yourself as being well. How do you look? I am well. Affirm, I am strong. How do you look when you're strong? I am well. Repeat, I am strong. I am a flowing river. Can you see that? Flowing river of divine vitality. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. How can you see that? Boundless power, boundless energy. Let's go through the affirmation again, image after image. My body's cells, repeat, obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Now silently repeat the whole affirmation, going through the entire flow. My body cells obey my will. They dance with divine vitality. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. I am well. I am strong. I am a flowing river of boundless power and energy. Open your eyes. I would like to suggest to you that you take this affirmation and repeat it every day, many times for a whole week, and see what effect it has on your health and on your life. Now we're going to go another step, making the practice of affirmation even more effective. We've done affirmation with the repetition of words, affirmation with words and images. Now we're going to do affirmation in motion, because when we're moving, the vibratory essence, the truth of that affirmation gets more deeply into our conscious, subconscious, and superconscious minds. Now, I invite you to stand up. Go ahead. Please stand up. And we're going to do an affirmation with 3 movements. The affirmation is, I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. These are 3 qualities for good health, 3 doorways through which life force can enter. So again, I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. Now follow me. Begin with your hands at your heart center. And when we say, I am positive, open your arms up. Are you really stretching out and embracing positivity? Now come back. Now we say energetic and move the arms outward into your daily activity. Come back to your heart, and then enthusiastic, raise your hands above your head and look up with a smile. Okay? So again, I'll show you. I am positive, energetic, and enthusiastic. Would you do that with me 3 times, starting here? I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. Affirm out loud. I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. I am positive, energetic, enthusiastic. When you get up in the morning, stand up next to your bed and do this exercise. It will help the life force to start flowing through you. Do it whenever you need a break. Do it when you feel your energy is getting low. It takes 5 seconds, 10 seconds to use your mind to open to the flow of life force. Now you can practice affirmation together with yoga postures, with asanas. And this system is called Ananda Yoga, developed by Swami Ananda. So we're going to do another affirmation, which is strength and courage fill my body's cells. Now, before we do this, again, try to imagine it. Strength, how does that look? How does it feel? Strength and courage. How does it feel when you have courage? Strength and courage fill my body's cells. So we're just blowing them up, like a balloon of energy. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Now the posture is the half moon pose. Okay, so you can do it with me, do it standing, or if you prefer to sit. We're going to inhale and bring the arms above the head. And then to one side, we're just going to go down gently and look up and affirm out loud. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Try to feel the body cells being filled. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Inhale, come up, stretch up. Exhale, go the other way, look up, smile. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Strength and courage fill my body cells. Inhale, come up. Exhale and come down. Close your eyes for a moment. Repeat mentally. Strength and courage fill my body cells. And the last technique of practicing affirmation is to combine an affirmation with music. Because when we're singing, the vibrations enter us all over into our mind through the pores of our skin and begin to influence our health. The affirmation that we're using with music is, from joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. These are 3 lines from one of Yogananda's poems called Samadhi. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt again. And we will be accompanied by our hosts, Narayan and Dharmadevi. You can sit, stand, you can dance. Yeah, dancing is nice. The affirmation gets even deeper. So let's affirm and sing together. Thank you so much for being with me in this presentation of the 2nd volume I hope you enjoy it. There's so much more in the book that it's kind of like my iPhone. I don't even know all of its features. And when you get this book, you'll find so much in it, so much wisdom, so many exercises. And there's a whole treasure house that's on the internet only for readers. These are the appendices, and they're brilliant. You'll even find, this is with the third volume, a whole playlist of music that you can enjoy. So thanks to you, and thanks to Crystal Clarity for your willingness and courage in publishing this monumental work.
Our congratulations and gratitude to you, Shivani, and some virtual flowers to you. And we wanted to remind everyone as well that the deep dive webinars where you're going into volume 1 started yesterday with Dr. Aditya and Dr. Amar. And if you haven't registered, you can go on to crystalclarity.com, and if you search on webinar, you'll see the deep dive there. I think Dharma Devi just put it in the chat box. So there's a link for that. And we look forward to more and better, Shivani, when we launch volume 3 and as we continue the journey with the deep dives. We were there yesterday. It was like today, really thrilling. So thank you so much for channeling the healing life force energy in body, mind, and soul. We feel it, we're grateful, and we look forward to sharing more with you together.
And it is my greatest hope that you and so many others will become teachers of life force healing, because this is a great blessing for the entire world. So in the future, we're going to have a healing teacher training program, and I hope you all will be part of it.